So let's start off by defining some terms. And I'm not going to start with the cap rate. I'm going to start with a term called NOI. When you're talking with brokers and you're talking about a property, they're going to use this term NOI. No broker ever says net operating income, but that's essentially what it stands for. Keep in mind that a multifamily is very different from a single family. A multifamily is an investment, it's a business. And because it's a business, the focus on evaluating the price of that business is based on its operating income. So you want to look at the operating income of the business to decide what that business is actually worth, right? So you're looking at obviously the rental income, but you're also looking at all the other ancillary pieces of income, laundry, parking, and a whole bunch of others, application fees, those sorts of things. And then what you want to look at is you want to look at the operating expenses, right? And when I define operating expenses, basically you can say everything that's an expense for the property with the exception of two things: the debt service, which is the mortgage, and then any capital expenditure or capex that you might make. That's a one-time expense that you budgeted. Maybe when you bought the property, you said, hey, it's a 50-unit property. I'm going to rehab each unit and I'm going to pay $6,000 on each of those units. That $300,000, you tend to spend it in spurts whenever your property is empty. That 300K is not included in the net operating income. There's a bunch of reasons why the NOI doesn't include the debt service and the capex. Capex is obvious. It's a one-time expense. You might make it today and then not make it ever again in the future. So you don't want somebody evaluating the value of your property based on a one-time expense, right? It's not a fair way to evaluate it. So we leave the capex out. We also leave the debt service out because the debt service varies a lot. In the 1980s, interest rates in the United States were 18%. And so multifamilies were seeing debt services as high as 20 or 21%. Today, we're seeing debt service interest rates at about 4.5%, 5.25% in the market, but they're on their way up. They're slowly increasing. So if you want to truly understand the value of a property, you need to take the debt service out because that debt service changes over time. Today, you might have 5.5% on a bridge loan, and then your eventual loan could be 4.5%. So including the debt service when calculating net operating income doesn't give you an apples to apples benchmark that you can use for 10 or 15 different properties. That's why the NOI does not include the debt service. It does not include the capex.